Hello friends, and welcome back to MV Tales. Today's story comes from the Relationships subreddit. It was posted by Program 22 and was titled, "I was going to talk to my boyfriend about his suspicious behavior, but a tragedy in the family intercepted. At a loss on what to do next." This is a really difficult situation, and I've never been in anything remotely close to it. I've been dating my boyfriend for about 3 months, not very long. Things are going great, and we get along well. We've had a few disagreements, but we're still getting to know each other. The issue: one day we were lying in bed, and behind my back, literally, he took my phone and put my password in. I noticed the fumbling, so I turned around. He said he was posting something funny to one of my social media profiles. Seemed immature, if true, and sketchy if it wasn't. A few minutes later, I took his phone to do the same, as it was only fair. As soon as I picked it up, he swiped it for me and stood in front of me deleting things off it. I couldn't see the screen, but it was obvious by his hand movements. He stood there for 10 minutes deleting things and then gave me his phone. He said I could do whatever. I asked him if he thought I was that much of an idiot, and he claimed he was setting a new lock code. I was pretty hurt by him doing that. What was he trying to hide? So I left. He eventually admitted he was deleting old nudes that he was embarrassed he still had on his phone. He apologized quite a few times, and he seemed sorry. We talked about it with his roommates, and they didn't seem to think he was not to be trusted, just a bit of an idiot for dealing with it that way. To clarify, I would have never cared if he had old nudes, as everyone has a past. Fast forward to about a week ago. A pic of my ex comes up on his social media feed. He has mutual friends with my ex, but has never met him. He went to like the picture because of our friend in it, and I told him not to because my ex is very petty and would probably start something. He asked me to show him another picture of my ex to see what he looked like out of curiosity. I asked him to show me his most recent ex. It was a hookup, not a relationship, and he showed me her profile. While showing me her profile, he tells me that she was really upset when she found out he was in a relationship with me. He said that she sent him nudes, and he told her to stop. She then blocked him from texting her and told him this on Snapchat. Well, 2 nights ago, I looked at her profile. I just felt like something was off, and I saw that in the past week he'd liked 3 of her selfies. None of her other pictures, just the selfies. Now, normally I wouldn't care about something so petty, but this is a girl that is trying to break up our relationship. To me, liking her photos is giving her attention and leads me to believe that they still talk or that she still sends him pictures, explains the phone incident. I'm very insecure when it comes to these types of scenarios because the same thing happened in my last relationship, and it killed me. Every time he went on his phone, I wondered what he was doing. And the kicker of all this is that when I send him pictures of myself, he barely responds. I want to trust him, but I don't see why he would need to interact with a girl who is trying to break us up. That really hurts me. The aftermath. So, I needed some space from him the next morning and didn't reply to his text. I was very busy at work and didn't feel like talking. I was wondering how I would bring up this conversation and what I was even looking for as an outcome. By 5, he asked me what was up and why I wasn't talkative. Before I even saw this text, he called me 3 times. By the 4th call, I answered, and he was sobbing. He told me his younger brother had attempted suicide in a very graphic way that I cannot enclose here, and was in critical condition. They didn't know if he'd survive. I rushed to meet him so we could go to the hospital, and since then it's been a whirlwind of emotions. I feel awful for ignoring him that day because he thought something had happened to me too. When he first saw me, he kept asking me why I was mad and what he did wrong. I told him it's not anything worth talking about, and that all my focus was on him and what was going on. I try to be there for him every step of the way. I haven't been talking. I usually talk a lot. I've just been waiting for him to and listening. I've just been trying to do little things like make him food or clean around his apartment so he won't have to worry about it. He's been sick. The day he found out, he passed out twice. It's hard seeing him that way. It was also really hard to see his parents, who I've only met once, at such a terrible time. He's been very appreciative of my support, and he keeps saying he doesn't deserve me and that he cares about me so much. In the waiting room of the hospital, he asked his parents if they thought I was great, and he kept thanking me for coming with him. I know that my head definitely isn't on straight right now, but I'm still bothered by the thought of him being sketchy with his phone and that girl. I'm obviously not going to bring it up now, but I don't know an appropriate time to. Part of me feels like it would have broken us up had I brought it up when I was going to Part of me wants to try and make the relationship work. Part of me feels resentful that I've gone above and beyond for this relationship, and he still keeps contact with someone who's trying to break us up. But regardless of any of these misplaced feelings, I want to help him the best I can. How can I help him and try to let go of my own hurt feelings for now? I have been, but it's taking a toll on me. When is an appropriate time to bring up my feelings, if at all? I know that this time is 100% about him, and I want to be there for him in whatever way I can. This post is getting long, so I'll leave it at that, but I'm sure this is spotty and confusing, so I can elaborate on whatever. Relevant comments. Hunting Yogi says, don't kick him when he is down, but lay low and keep an eye on him. If he reaches out to the ex for support, walk away. Oop replied, I just don't know how to tell. I don't want to snoop. I hate feeling the need to do that, especially this early in the relationship. Hunting Yogi says, snoop and don't feel bad about it. You feel the need because of his questionable actions. You need to protect yourself. You can be there for him now, but be careful. His behavior sounds very suspicious. Oop replied, I definitely am trying to protect myself right now. I'm treating it as though I would treat a friend going through it and backing off in the relationship sense. Update 1. So, I took your advice and put on the back burner for now and focused on him. He's doing better dealing with everything, and his brother is conscious and well. He took me out for dinner a few days after and was being super polite, opening doors, pulling out my chair. He just seemed different. He was very sentimental and told me that he was so happy I was by his side through all of it and that I make him a better person, etc. He also said he didn't want to use his phone as much because it distracts him from reality, so he deleted all social media. I felt so relieved that he did this without me bringing it up. It was a perfect evening, until not even 2 days later when he downloaded everything back to his phone and resumed. He went to the hospital last night, and we talked on the phone after. He hasn't said really anything about his brother, so I try to leave it alone. I decided to check the girl's IG last night, and she had posted another selfie, which he had liked again. I feel so let down. He's coming over tonight, so I'm going to talk to him about it. I can't keep it bottled in any longer. I'm in such a terrible mood. I hate feeling like I can't trust anyone. Update 2. I talked with him tonight. It was an almost 2-hour conversation. After I described the situation and told him why it bothered me, I made the mistake of waiting for some sort of explanation which never came. First, he said that he didn't even realize he was liking her pictures. Then he said that he likes his friend's pictures and that he couldn't see the big deal. Friend? A girl who sent you nudes and tried to get you to cheat certainly isn't a friend. He then said that he hasn't texted her or interacted with her at all in months, and that he doesn't see how liking her picture is interacting. Except she's posted several pictures over the week, and he only likes her selfies. He then said that it isn't like he's interacting with a bad person who does malicious things. I told him what she did certainly qualifies as malicious. He said she was just a weird girl. He said I was overreacting, and he didn't like that I was researching his internet activity since he's a private person. He said I was analyzing everything too much. He apologized and said many times that he would never cheat on me, etc. I told him I couldn't trust him after these incidents and that I would have rather actually heard a reason as to why it was going on than him playing dumb and saying he didn't think it was wrong, unless he's truly that oblivious. I brought up the phone incident, and he said he was only deleting old pictures. I told him the whole scenario didn't make sense to me since he could have said what he was doing, but instead chose to stand in front of me for 10 minutes and lie that he was deleting things. His plan. He said he realizes now that it was wrong and he should have blocked her from the beginning, but that maybe he was subconsciously trying to keep her around. He said he would never cheat on me about 1000x and told me I could ask any of his friends, etc. He told me he was deleting his accounts, not just the apps, from his phone because it's too distracting for him and also because of this situation. Says he will do anything to win my trust back. Well, I said I appreciated that, and we talked about a few other things. Ultimately, I told him I didn't know where the relationship was headed and that I didn't want to be in one where I feel paranoid all the time, especially this early on. I'm still upset that he seemed to be playing it dumb the whole time, so I left in a hurry and haven't talked to him. I probably went about a lot of this the wrong way, but many emotions were boiling. Relevant comments. Jill Actual says, just 2 observations. Your boyfriend is a liar. He really sucks at it. I mean, you're not really thinking of staying in this crap fest? Oprah replied, yeah, I didn't want to try and keep pushing it, but I knew he was lying and called him out on it. But he kept defending himself. Not sure if I'm really going to stay. Ninja Cherry says, well, I'd be really mad if my so thought that I was stupid enough to buy this crap. He is not oblivious to his actions. His excuses are really insulting. Oprah replied, that's the part that really grinds my gears. He thinks I'm dumb enough to buy these lies or half-truths. Update 3. I didn't take Reddit's advice and break up with him after he apologized. However, the relationship started to deteriorate in many ways outside of the lack of trust. He wasn't financially responsible. He never took me out on dates. He acted immature in so many ways. We weren't communicating. I would tell him about my day, and he would say that's nice, but never had an actual response that indicated he cared. There were dozens of issues, and the more I brought them up, the worse they would get. So the time had definitely come. At first, he was angry at me and was going to break up with me. He said that I victimized him by bringing up issues and arguing. I told him I never once raised my voice, and they weren't arguments until he was on the defensive side and refused to listen. Then he admitted he felt like an asshole and wanted to work on our problems. I told him no, but he didn't take me seriously. I called him the next day to finalize it, and he said he didn't need to be in a relationship and that he wasn't codependent. Never said he was. I thought we would end on decent terms, but he said he was pissed at me. We had a vacation planned for May to another part of the country. I paid for both tickets, and he paid me back. I asked him what we would do about the trip, and he said that he was definitely going, and that if I was even considering going, that I would have to change my plane seat. So disrespectful, considering I bought the tickets and planned the trip. I'd rather lose out on $250 than deal with a child. I could tell I wasn't going to be considerate much longer, so I wanted to say goodbye. I did let him know that I had things at his house that I needed. One was a library book. I asked him if he could either bring it to the library or mail it to me, since I'm sure neither of us wants to see each other. He said he would put it in a mailbox and that they would get it to the library. I couldn't contain myself anymore, so I chuckled and said that I didn't even care at this point. Oh, and the kicker is that less than an hour after we broke up, he posted on his Twitter about using Tinder again. I feel sorry for the next girl. All in all, I seem to have dodged a bullet. Final comments. Alana92 says, you sound like a child who just wants to hurt you in any way he still can. Ignore him. Oprah replied, yeah, he's admitted many times that he can't take any form of criticism, so I'm not sure why I thought a breakup would be any different. He's just a very selfish person. The last week we were together, he brought us to IKEA to pick up a dresser for him and a bed frame for me. His dresser was out of stock, so he threw a huge fit and said we should leave, and what a waste of a trip it was. Meanwhile, I'm standing with a cart holding my bed frame. Then he had the audacity to say that I'm ungrateful because he drove me there. He would have gone either way, and it's a 20-minute drive, even though I thanked him. Very irrational person. Massimum says, he sounds like a child. I'm betting he has a string of short relationships in his past. Oprah replied, yeah. He told me his last girlfriend of 3 months broke up with him because she was sick of his shit, but he said that she was selfish and not willing to support him when he was in a time of need, sure. And his girlfriend before that was pretty passive. They dated for about 1.5 years, and then she ended it with a list of things she hated about him and the relationship. Pretty cruel to blindside someone when you're pretending to be happy with them, but hey, I can identify with her frustration. Oh, that's a great story. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. The second story is from the True Off My Chest subreddit. It was posted by XOXOdragonfly and was titled, My Best Friend Says I Crossed a Line. I thought I was doing the right thing by getting the receipts. I've been holding this in for weeks and it's weighing on me. My best friend, 31 female, has been with her fiancé, 33 male, for over 7 years. He's the father of her youngest, and he has been nudging her to open their relationship and be poly, even though, to me, it's always seemed more like a pass so he could sleep around with her permission. Years ago, he even managed her account, sending her nudes to friends and coworkers to get subscribers, and she went along with it because he seemed proud of her. She's a stay-at-home mom juggling 3 kids in college. She told me she's scared of ending up in government housing again, so she does what she can to make him happy, even after catching him sexting other women repeatedly. He is always safe that he can't stop his nature. So last year they agreed to have a girlfriend, 33 female, together, and her Facebook official posting about family dinners, sleepovers, and date nights. So on social media, it looks like an open relationship. A few weeks ago, one of his longtime female gamer friends, I'll call her Emily, privately messaged my friend and confessed she'd been in an emotional and sexual affair with him for 2 years. She claimed they were planning to meet for a trip this summer, which he had told my friend was just a guy's trip. When I asked my friend why she didn't respond to Emily, she said she didn't want to spiral. She believed her fiancé's confession when she confronted him, and he said that Emily was just a delusional friend upset because he won't leave his family for her, and she became too jealous. That did not sit right with me. So I messaged Emily myself. Emily knew exactly who I was when I messaged her, and she gave me everything. Screenshots, screen recordings, photos of gifts and written, signed love letters, proof of video calls, snap streaks. It was not just a fling, it was a full-on, emotional affair. I never planned to show this to my best friend, as she had already told me she didn't want to see Emily's twisted lies. But I thought he owed my best friend the truth. So at the last cookout, I told him I knew everything, that I had the proof, and he needed to be honest and confess to my best friend the truth about his affair. He had a full-blown panic attack and fainted in the kitchen. I'm a nurse, and I'm not exaggerating, he passed out cold. When he regained consciousness, he told my best friend that I had spoken to Emily and that I was blackmailing him. He admitted he liked flirting with Emily, but that she became obsessed with the idea that he would run away with her. My best friend, who I've known for 10+ years, chose to believe him and wants nothing to do with Emily's obsessive proof. She says I crossed the line, that I betrayed her trust. I get that it's not typical for the uninvolved friend talk to the other woman. I've never done anything like this before. I don't like confrontation and I don't pick fights. I genuinely wanted to protect my friend, even if she didn't want to protect herself. I didn't throw screenshots in her face. I just wanted her fiancé to be truthful, and I wanted to hold him accountable for his actions given that I had the proof to call out his lies. My best friend has made her peace with staying with him for the kids, and I've come to accept that. But I can't stand him manipulating her because his cheating has destroyed her time and time again, and I am there babysitting their kids so that they can talk things out. Since all of this, she and her girlfriend have pulled away from me and don't react to my reels in the group chat. I wasn't invited to a recent birthday party for one of her kids, nor the upcoming 4th of July cookout that they host every year where I help with the potluck. I don't know if I did the right thing. I just know I feel awful. I acted out of love, not revenge. I wasn't trying to ruin her life, but to make her fiancé accountable for once. I just couldn't stand watching someone I care about be lied to like that. But maybe that's not what a best friend should do. Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, "Look, you didn't do anything crazy or wrong. You didn't stalk or harass Emily. You messaged her asking about the situation out of concern for your friend, and she eagerly and willingly responded and dumped all of her evidence to you. Unfortunately, it seems to have come down to a situation in which your friend simply does not want to accept the truth or be helped. It is safer, easier, and more familiar to force herself to buy her husband's lies and remain in her marriage than it is for her to accept reality and pursue change, be that a reckoning with hubby, couples counseling, divorce, etc. And if it came down to divorce, that would necessitate some very big and likely very negative changes considering that she is financially dependent on him and they also have kids together. Based on your description of her current situation, she might not be able to win or maintain even partial custody over her children, as she'd have no money, no home, no college degree, and no job, for example. Even if she managed to squeeze money out of her potential ex-hubby, she'd still have to find housing and a job that pays enough to support daily childcare costs for 3 kids. You keep challenging the delusion that she's desperately clinging to, and it's become too difficult for her to continue rationalizing it and making excuses for her husband while you refuse to support that or do the same. And in her defense, you don't seem appropriately aware or considerate of the complexity of her situation or what is actually at risk for her should she actually accept her husband's scumminess and either put her foot down or confront him about it, and it goes poorly. Of course you want to help her, and OFC, you're not a bad person for trying to do so, but she's already between a rock and a hard place in her life and marriage, and you are still a source of additional pressure. She straight up told you that she's not just accepting her husband's false version of events BC, she wants to. She's doing it BC, she feels she has no other choice. And you didn't actually offer her any other choices when you confronted her husband for her, just added another layer of pressure and complexity. Hence why she's at least temporarily cut you out. Opie replied, "There's really no one here, and I just needed a vent." I ended up playing the bad cop and reached out to the other woman, Emily, because the fiancé's story was too convenient and too in his favor. I did not do this thinking this was blackmailing him. All I did was confront him directly, told him I knew what was going on, and that as her fiancé, her life partner, the father figure in their home, he owed her the honest truth. And they also chose not to tell their girlfriend about the affair, but I advocated for her to know too, because she's just as involved and deserves to know as, per their arrangement, she's expected to be exclusive to them and vice versa. Yes, my best friend is upset with me, but it feels like I become the outlet for her resentment for her disgust with Emily. She's forgiven her fiancé, so I'm the scapegoat. In the past, I've stood there silent in their home, watching their kids during previous incidents, and only ever been supportive of their recovery. This situation was just so different than the others. In jest, he says that if he were to ever leave, he would take his biological daughter, no questions asked, and my best friend and her 2 kids would have a permanent sleepover at my house. But that is not something to joke about. Regardless, I wished him a happy Father's Day in our group chat yesterday. In the past week, he has been messaging me, apologizing that my best friend is mad at me, and he has been defending me that all I was trying to do was be a good friend. I have brunch plans with her Saturday, which will most likely be as if nothing happened. Commenter 2 says, she already knows. She already knows, but being without him scares her more than staying with him. For her, this is about securing housing and food above all else. In good meaning or not, you are jeopardizing that. Either accept that she isn't going to leave and be there for her, or don't and take a step back from her. But she isn't going to leave no matter what you do. Opie replied, I know she's not going to leave him, and I never thought anything I did would break them up. That was never the goal. What really got to me was sitting there while he twisted the story and bashed Emily, someone who's been his lifelong before he even started dating my best friend. He was sugarcoating everything to protect himself, and I called his bluff. It's not my relationship, not my monkey, not my circus, but at the very least, I intervened to pressure him to be truthful, honest, on what he did. I own what I did and understand I overstepped. Commenter 3 says, your friend told you she didn't want to know, and you stuck your nose in anyway. No wonder she doesn't like you anymore. Opie replied, oh, the shade. She's hurt, overwhelmed, and I was the only one who didn't go along with the version of events that made it easier to cope. Sad situation all around. It was the first and probably only time I ever stepped into their dynamic or relationship or addressed as cheating, and yeah, I got burned for it. Someone reminded me, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Additional information from OP after reading the comments. OP says, met up with my best friend Saturday to talk things out. She had already asked me to block his affair partner and to delete the proof. At the coffee shop, she told me she thought I was trying to break them up by blackmailing her fiancé, but that was never my intention. I explained that I only reached out to collect the proof and hold him accountable for his actions. She told me she hated what you did and felt betrayed because I'm like a sister to her, which really hit hard. I apologized for going behind her back and talking to someone else about her relationship, but not sorry for confronting her fiancé directly. She shared that he's been more open with her about details surrounding his emotional affair, that he ended things with Emily, which is what made her expose him. Reach out to my best friend in the first place. My friend didn't want me to compare notes, nor confirm or deny what he's been telling her. In the end of all of this, I learned my lesson and apologized to her, but I won't apologize to her fiancé. She just wants us all to bury this and move on. She caught me up in the last few weeks and even added me to this year's July 4th group chat. I told her I understand boundaries moving forward and I will stay out of their relationship issues, hoping their girlfriend can fill in those shoes as I'm stepping back. Thankfully, they also decided to tell their girlfriend what happened, and she's totally fine since no physical intimacy happened. She was annoyed she had to find out so late in the game and talk to them about her expectations on mutual respect and emotional intimacy. But their girlfriend isn't happy with me, saying I'm distrustful, but I'm hoping things can eventually settle. They're all focused on rebuilding their relationship, being more transparent with their girlfriend, and prioritizing the kids. I do plan to spend the 4th with them, but not sure what will happen this fall with the holidays. Update 1. So he's still been talking to Emily behind her back, and he's been applying to jobs at her town. Because of that, my friend and her fiancé decided to call off their engagement and are breaking up. Trying to recover from all of this hasn't been easy for them. Understandable so. He refused couple therapy, and their troubled girlfriend decided to end things with them a few weeks ago. I have kept my distance, but still saw my friend a few times this summer. She confessed that they haven't been intimate at all since the drama started, and were basically just trying to hold things together for the kids. He told my friend he'll keep paying the bills till the end of the year if she agrees to give him full custody of his biological child. After that, if she doesn't find a job that covers the mortgage, then they're putting the house up for sale. Update 2. My best friend chose to forgive her fiancé, but it feels like the hurt and distrust got redirected at me instead. I became the scapegoat. She said she can't trust me anymore. We don't talk about her relationship anymore because I told her something she didn't want to hear. That she's been changing herself to keep her fiancé happy because opening their relationship is the best way to keep him from leaving. She agreed to open their relationship, and he found them a bisexual girlfriend with whom the fiancé performs oral sex with, but isn't allowed to kiss or have penetrative sex with her. It's been months now, and the fiancé wants to do more things and add more women to the mix, etc., causing my friend to have panic attacks as she wants him to slow down because she is not bisexual and demands to be involved in all conversations and interactions. With her juggling kids, quality time with her fiancé, date nights, and dating her or their girlfriend with throuple dates. There's no real time for me as her friend in her life. Hurt that she did absolutely nothing for my birthday last month, and when I tried to make lunch plans, she makes excuses. Her birthday is this summer, and I feel like I have to match her absent effort. I don't want anything to do with her fiancé since the affair, but have tried to sympathize that my friend doesn't want to break up their family. I was decent at their kid's recent birthday party, but recently talking to her on the phone, he inserted himself in the conversation, making suggestions on my relationship, so I hung up. She said I need to lose the attitude when I just don't want to interact with him. Because of that, she told me he has refused to watch their kids when I've asked to make plans because he says I'm not a real friend. At this point, I'm accepting that I'm not the enemy, but I am being treated like one as I'm not drinking her fiancé's Kool-Aid. Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, okay, what did you think would happen? Even telling the truth is gonna get you hate because humans are like that. I've been involved in 3 of these situations. 2 ended in hate. The 3rd was fine because dude had a history. I wasn't upset because I expected these reactions. You did a thing. Shit happened. You have to accept you were a villain to her while still doing the right thing. She may eventually come around, or she might not. Being a decent person is expensive and often sucks. Hope you replied. First rodeo for me. Thought my best friend deserved the truth. Even offered her fiancé the chance to come clean. But in the end, she never wanted to know the truth. She just wants to forgive and forget. Commenter 2 says, you can't save a person from drowning when they willingly jump into the ocean time and time again. You'll just end up going under with her. Tell her that her toxic relationship is seeping into your friendship, and you no longer want to be involved in the drama she has invited into her life. They'll find a nicer way to word this. That her life choices and whom she chooses to have in her life is up to her. But you also have a choice in who you let be in your life. So you have now decided to cut her fiancé from your own life. That you fully believe that he is a cheater, liar, and is emotionally manipulative and not someone you want to associate with. So you no longer will. You no longer want to be near him, hear about him, or about their relationship. You realize that this may end your friendship since he requires full loyalty from her while giving her none in return. But so be it. That she can call you for anything not related to him. That you will be there for her in any other capacity if she ever needs help or just some girl time. Opie replied, this is the reality she is choosing and they're trying out this throuple relationship. They have specific nights for each person and prioritize Sunday as their full family night. I used to help with babysitting unpaid on their date nights, but given all that's happened, I'm relieved that in the past 6 months, I have not been asked to babysit. I know their girlfriend helps with that now, as they reward her with flowers and gifts coming back from the date, as he is constantly posting appreciation posts on social media now. They want to bury his mistake of what happened and not discuss any of it. So any discussion won't be appreciated, because then I'm not dropping the issue. I have never inserted myself into their relationship in all these years, until that day, but have been there time and time again when she beside herself crying because he cheats and sleeps around. This time was the worst affair yet. Commenter 3 says, she chose to lie to herself. All you can do is to be there, but do not try to save her, because you'll be blamed for everything. Unfortunately, it means a friendship that is less close also. She is sucked into the drama, and she will drag everyone down with it when it explodes. Since you're already the bad guy, just let it lie. Commenter 4 says, friend is going to get herpes and blame everyone else but her fiancé. Opie replied, wildest development is the fiancé wants to get a vasectomy, when both my best friend and the girlfriend both already had a hysterectomy. My friend got pissed with me because I told her directly to her face he wants to remove the consequences of pregnancy and not wear condoms when he sleeps around.